Hello, everyone. Good morning. It is Wednesday, August 7th. Oh my God, I cannot believe that it is already August. This is just insane. My partner and I are leaving on next week to go to the States for 2 months. We live in Mexico, and it's going to be quite a ride. So I'm gearing up for that. So if you are here live, welcome. So excited to have you here. I'd love to hear who's here and where you're calling from. So feel free to type in the chat where you're calling from today. So happy to have you. So, today we're going to be talking about how to utilize what I call proactive rather than reactive networking to fill your practice and discuss how to do it without feeling sleazy, slimy, or like a used car salesman. So, I'm super excited. Oh, in Atlanta, cool. Welcome. That's awesome. I bet it's hot there right now, like it is here in Mexico. Oh my gosh. If you are new to my world, I'm Emma, and I'm a business strategist for therapists. And I help impact driven therapists really charge a fee and go private pay so that they feel their lifestyle is supported. They have time for things like self-care, health, travel, family, and also can have location freedom if they want. I myself am all online, so I'm able to travel and see clients. And a lot of my clients that I work with are also really passionate about doing that. Like I have a client actually who is going to live in Europe for a while and see clients at weird hours, which I think is just so cool. So awesome. I'm super happy to have you all here. Okay, Florida, California, very cool. I have had a private practice for almost 10 years now and went remote during the pandemic. And I've been private pay since around that time as well. If you are serious about growing your private pay practice, book a call with me or even just growing your practice in general. I will put the link in the comments and I can tell you about how I help support therapists in doing this and really setting up a practice that supports you where you are working with your dream clients. So let's get into it. So the truth is, you have probably been told, as I was, that to fill your practice, you need to be networking. We all know that relationships create referrals and that many old-timer therapists with all this huge cash pay practice, those have been built by maybe referrals alone in the days before the internet. Do you know those therapists I'm kind of talking about, like the ones that work from their home? I remember there was one in Denver who she had like a high-rise apartment that she saw clients in, and she charged, it was like, 8 years ago, she charged like $400 a session back then. And I'm pretty sure her practice was entirely built by referrals. So we all kind of know those therapists, those sort of unicorn therapists. Maybe they don't have a website. So when you are building a private pay practice, you hear a lot of stuff, right? Like I remember hearing you need to network with 90 people in 90 days. Like you need to just get your name out there, be really visible. You need to be going to networking events, or you need to be taking lunch to doctors' offices. You need to be networking and connecting with a ton of people to be seen and then fill your practice. However, if you're anything like me and my clients, and many of us identify as highly sensitive or introverted, the idea of all those things makes you kind of want to hurl a little bit. So maybe you have tried going to networking events with tons of other therapists and you've left only remembering one person's name. Or you've emailed other therapists you find online, but you never hear back from them. Or you do go drop lunch or your business card or whatever off at a doctor's office, only to feel like a weird intern who just dropped off something without even meeting the doctor. I was talking to a woman recently who told me that she went to a networking event with tons of other therapists, and she gave her business card out to a bunch of people there. It stressed her out to be there to no end, but she thought it was going to be helping her practice. And after the event, she never got a single referral or heard back from any of the therapists that she met there. She felt so dejected and she was ready to give up on networking altogether. So, have you guys ever had any experience similar to this before? Let me know in the chat if you have. I'm thinking about for myself, when I was starting my private practice, I worked for like kind of a little computer company in Colorado, and I remember I was kind of for them, but mostly for my practice, I was going to these networking events, like these big kind of with a ton of different professionals. And I would go, and it was first of all, it was just like so weird. But I mean, nothing ever came of it. It was at like 7:30 in the morning. I dreaded it every week. It was just the worst. And it was such a waste of time. I never got a single client from anything associated with that at all. And yeah, Marilyn, totally, very deflating. I absolutely agree with you on that. So you have this feeling of like you're working your butt off to network, but all that results in feeling burnt out from networking, and like you just want to like hide in a closet. No new calls to your practice, so you're grasping at the next best marketing technique and thinking like, oh, do I need to like get on TikTok or like become an Instagram influencer or get an email list or start running Google ads or whatever. Also this worrying that like you're coming across as like slimy or needy, or you're needing something from these people, and worrying about how you're presenting and coming across and feeling self-conscious about that. And maybe even you feel like just giving up on networking altogether because you've decided it just doesn't work for you. It's just not working. Okay, I don't want you to do that, because the truth is we don't want to throw out networking, because relationships are some of the best, long-lasting, and reliable referral sources for us. People and human connection are amazing, amazing referral sources. So, but this doesn't mean, however, that you should go to networking events, meet more people, or network with every therapist under the sun. So because networking without strategy networking without strategy equals not building powerful business relationships and no new client calls. So just doing more networking and just getting yourself out there more, or going to more things, is going to lead to more of these results that you don't want. These are results like not getting any return on the time you've invested, all while feeling burnt out and kind of gross and icky, when you're not. You're not at all. And so this is the difference between what I call proactive versus reactive networking. See, the way we've been told to network is reactive. It involves simply reacting to what we've been told, to this generic advice we've been told. So go to a networking event, so we do. Hand out your business card to people, so we do. Email some other therapists and meet up for coffee, so we do. Oftentimes really without really thinking about like, is this person going to be someone who can actually help me get clients? Are they someone who has access to my ideal client in some way? Neely, yes. I can old school network with the best of them. Awesome. That's great. Okay. So here's the truth. I'm gonna give you the real talk. You do not need to be networking with everyone in order to fill up your practice. And in fact, it's not only gonna not be effective, you're gonna burn out. It's probably gonna be worse for your practice. You need to be networking with the right people in the right way to develop long-lasting referral sources for your private pay practice. So this is proactive networking, being strategic and building authentic relationships with people rather than spreading yourself super thin, trying to just be known by everyone. So the formula for this is simple, and it involves connecting with the right people plus building relationships, and that equals awesome referral sources and bonds that strengthen, and a steady stream of referrals, not just now, but really for years to come. These referral sources and these relationships you develop are going to be feeding your practice for years, because once we know, like, and trust someone, that stays with us. You know, we think of them when we have a client that would be a good fit for them. So, okay, where was I? So, connecting with the right people, how do we do this? So first of all, it involves taking into consideration your current relationships that you have either in your community as well as in your niche specifically, in the area where you live, all of those kinds of things. It involves really thinking about your niche specifically, who has access to your ideal client. But it's not just as simple as that, because just networking with every person who has access to our ideal client also is not going to necessarily get us those results. Because if, you know, we're going to, I think I might talk about this a little bit later in the talk, but if we're going to a, you know, if chiropractors have access to our ideal clients and we're just gonna go network with a bunch of chiropractors, I don't know a ton of people who talk about their mental health concerns with their chiropractor, or that they're looking for a therapist to their chiropractor. Of course, some definitely do, but I think you could spend your time likely a lot better. I mean, there may be some people maybe with chronic pain or something like that, that if you work with that population, maybe a chiropractor would be a good person. But we really have to think very strategically when we're coming up with this. So, and then if you think about it too, like on the flip side of that, couples counselors may be talking with their adult clients about how to find a therapist for their kids, or for each of them individually. Or if, you know, if you're a sex addiction therapist, a couples counselor could be a great person to network with, because likely that's an issue that might come up in couples therapy that that couples therapist would probably refer out for. Furthermore, therapists who take insurance probably are not going to often be referring out to private pay providers. Also, a lot of doctors who take insurance may not be referring out to private pay providers. So the other side of this, so that's kind of the first prong, is connecting with the right people and coming up with who those right people are in your niche, within your relationships for you. Because by the way, marketing a private practice is not a one size fits all thing. It's not like go network with 90 people in 90 days and everyone's practice will be full. No, we have to be strategic about how you're using your time and your energy and come up with an approach that works for you. So that's a large part of what my whole program is about, that I offer, is coming up with that approach that works for you and your practice and your niche. So the second side of this is building relationships. And this is the part, I will say, I think most therapists kind of undersell themselves on this part, because we're really good at this part, actually. And it may feel in those moments when when we are at a weird therapist networking event and we're handing out our business card, it may feel like we don't know how to do this. I promise you, you know how to do this part. Building relationships is about being curious. It's about giving value and being willing to stay connected with people over time. People refer to therapists that they truly know, like, and trust. And we feel less sleazy when we feel like we are actually contributing to the relationship in some way, when we have something to offer, when we are being curious, when we have something to give. So networking is not about, let me tell you who I work with, really quick and, tell you my niche and I want to be a referral source for you. It's truly about developing relationships. It's about helping people feel comfortable and seen with us, and then kind of maintaining those relationships over time. So this is what helps us also not feel sleazy in the networking relationship, because we kind of switch it from being we're trying to get referrals from this person real quick to we're trying to add value. We're trying to be in a relationship with this person. Not a relationship, but you know what I mean, a working relationship with this person. And we're trying to give back to them. We're trying to help them out in some way as well. So when you are networking with the right people and you're building relationships from a genuine place, rather than trying to get that quick referral, you do have a steady stream of clients for years to come. It's really playing the long game, but it's a game that pays off. So take me, for example. I have a group of private pay therapists who really will refer clients to me whenever I want. Because I have spent a lot of time building really strategic relationships with people who have access to my ideal client, I can even and because we refer to each other all the time and I'm adding value and we know each other and it's not just about giving clients back and forth, it's about the relationship. We can say to each other like, hey, I'm feeling a little light right now. Can you send someone my way? Every time I throw that out into this group of people, a client calls me, and similar. Like I then think of them, and whenever I have someone to refer, which is all the time, I send a client their way and I let them know. And that continues to build this know, like, and trust. It continues to deepen the relationship and strengthen this bond, which then makes us more likely to continue, referring to each other and recommending, each other to other people and in Facebook groups and things like that. So this is also like my client, Addie, she started a consult group for other private pay trauma therapists and is filling her practice and building these awesome long-term relationships. In fact, I think her practice is full now after doing that, in addition to some other things, of course. Or like my client, Sarah, who's being invited to speak all over her community in front of her ideal client because of these amazing relationships she has really spent time building and the value she has offered to other people. That's why my program, Liberated Practice, and my method really focuses on proactive networking as a key piece of getting more referrals without wasting your time or feeling inauthentic while doing it. So I walk you through exactly what to do to determine where you should be putting your networking time and who you should be referring with and your energy in order for you to get the biggest return on your time spent and not just feel exhausted and like you've been putting out all this effort and getting nothing back. So this is one of my key pillars of the Liberated Practice formula, which is Kismet Findability is one of these pillars, where we focus on how to get you found by your ideal client without you needing to burn yourself out, be visible everywhere, or chase clients down. In addition to this Kismet Findability, which is a huge part of what we do together, we focus on what I call establishing success. Because you don't just fall into success, you establish it. So this is about putting together the pieces that help you be seen and known as an established and successful expert and therapy provider. The last thing we really focus on is what I call embodied support. And embodied support is all about showing up like a rock star for yourself, your current clients, and your future clients, like offering value to these clients before they even come into your world. So I am going to end it there. If you are interested in learning more about how to use proactive networking to fill your practice, I would love to chat with you. I will put the link to book a call with me in the comments. And yes, I would love to hear about your practice and help you out. So great seeing you all today. I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely weekend. I'll see you next time.